The only sport where you can call it a championship round when it's not the actual championship of the whole league. But we're here. Championship round, 2 games left. We're moving quick through these. I want to break down the 2 games first. I'll give all the picks at the end. You guys probably know who I'm leaning towards already. If you've been watching the videos, subscribe to the channel, do all the things, hit the bell, do the stuff. At MikeTheMush Sports for more picks. We're up 34.8 units in 2023 alone. We finished last year really good, up over 100 units. We're making money. We're hot, 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 hot. Saturday, if you're watching this when it comes out, college basketball has been hot as well. Follow the social media for those picks. Every time there's an unranked team at home that is favored against a ranked team, we're hammering it. It is hitting at a ridiculous, ridiculous rate. There were 4 of them today. So far, as I'm filming this, they're 2 for 4. We're feeling good. We're going to sweep it. But we're talking football today. 16 units on the line in this video alone, not including the college basketball stuff, including a 10-unit pick, our biggest of the year so far. We normally don't put it all in one basket, but I'm feeling really solid about this. And when you get so far into the season and you feel like you have a stranglehold on how these teams play, it's hard to abandon it now. Plus, we've been hot. It's going to go up and down. This is a topsy-turvy game. First time I've ever said that out loud, but, here we are. You can't take it back. There's no edits here. Niners, Eagles. We start with the early game. I kind of wish it was the later game. It's the more interesting game to me for some reason, although you would think the other one was better, but I guess we've seen it so many times. Whatever. The point is, Brock Purdy. It doesn't count, I guess, towards this, although I'm counting it in the 16 units, because as soon as Brock Purdy played his first game for the Niners, and by the way, he hasn't lost, and they haven't lost in forever. All 4 of these teams are red hot, by the way. Let's not lose sight of that. Every single one of these teams has been awesome for a long time. So any pick you make here is going to be reasonable. You have to have backup and really have some kind of reason why you would really like these teams specifically. And I do, because I loved Purdy after his first game, and I took the Niners to win the NFC at plus 260. It felt like good odds. Now we're here. Definitely good odds, because you're not getting plus 260 on a money line for the Niners, although I do kind of like the Niners. Spoiler alert. So I already have that. I've been waiting to fade the Eagles all year. I said it last week. I tried it with the Giants. We lost in that game. Thankfully, we made up for it with the other games, blah, blah, blah. They crushed the Giants. Giants aren't meant to play from behind, right? So when you fall behind and you don't have receivers against a pretty good secondary, it's going to be near impossible to come back. They tried to ride Barkley back into the game. It couldn't work. Once they fall behind, it's impossible. I don't think you can say that about the 49ers. They have insane weapons. Both of these teams are really stacked roster-wise. But I knew after that Purdy first game that they had something here, because all anyone is talking about is how rare it is for a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback without experience or blah, 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 someone without massive, massive superstar talent, right? It's really hard for that kind of person to go into a hostile environment in the biggest game of their career and get his team to the Super Bowl. I'm with you. You can point at all these situations where these young quarterbacks didn't make it. You need a rookie to make the Super Bowl. It's very hard, let alone win. However, this team got really far with Jimmy Garoppolo, who I think is the same as Brock Purdy. Shanahan runs a mix and match kind of offense. It's about the weapons around him and moving them into different scenarios so that the defense doesn't know where to go. Debo can go in the backfield. He can play any of the receiver positions. Same for Ayuk. They all block really well. You'll see Kittle out wide. You'll see him tight as a tight end. You'll see him in the backfield as an H-back. You have Juszczyk doing the same thing. You can split McCaffrey out wide, put Eli Mitchell in there. I know he's hurt, but even if they had to go to the 3rd string, it'll be fine. They have this zone running scheme. They have all these different trickery plays. They have ends around. The point is, if any team could do it with any coach, this is the team that is not basing it around the quarterback. The thing I like about Purdy, though, is that he's really tough and he's not afraid to go down the field. The Niners would have won the Super Bowl if Jimmy Garoppolo could have hit a deep pass to Emmanuel Sanders. He overthrew him. They didn't win. It was that throw. I mean, it's hard to pin it down to one game, but it really was that throw that made them lose. I think Purdy throws a better deep ball and is more aggressive than Jimmy. So what too many people are ignoring here is that I think Purdy at worst is the same as Jimmy and at best is an upgrade over him. So throw all the rookie stuff out the window, right? Maybe he collapses and maybe Jimmy would have collapsed also, or Trey Lance or whoever you want to put in there. That's fine. I'm not saying the outcome matters, although it matters for our wallets. But the point is, if the team is upgraded from the quarterback that is there, compared to the quarterback that was there before, why does anything else really matter? And to me, I just don't think it does. I also think on the other side of the ball, Jalen Hurts, he's good, right? I have admitted defeat on Dak Prescott and Josh Allen. But the thing that I have going for me with my takes that those guys are not that good is that they haven't won a Super Bowl. And when it has come down to it, Josh Allen has been awesome, right? But we saw it this year. He was a turnover machine this year. I know he's hurt, but whatever. They almost lost to the Dolphins. They got killed by the Bengals. He didn't look very good, and the turnovers are there, and the accuracy problems are there. I've seen that with Dak Prescott, too. He falls apart when they go against really good defenses. Now, I want to see Jalen Hurts. I don't want to see it, because, spoiler alert, we're taking the Niners. But in order for him to prove me wrong, I need to see him go against a really good defense and take them down in the biggest game. And I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think the Giants defense is what the Niners defense is. And by the way, so many people are talking crap about this Niners defense. I think they've been good for too long, like too many weeks, to the point where everyone is just trying to find a reason why this team isn't as good as we think they might have been before. But you win 10 whatever games in a row. I mean, what else do we need to see here? This defense, I think, is really good. Up front, their secondary has some good players in it. We're talking about them like you can just throw down the field, no problem. And I get it. Brown, Devontae Smith, Hurts likes to throw it deep. He likes to scramble. He likes to get these... Look, I get it. Niners have some bad numbers against rushing quarterbacks, but what we're not factoring into those is the context, right? You can look at anything on paper and it seems fine. The context is they've been up in 1 million games. They give up no second half points almost ever. And so when you're ahead and the other team is behind and they're trying to throw it down the field, guess what's going to happen? The quarterback's going to get out of the pocket and scramble because the defense is giving it to him. So if you just look at raw quarterback rushing numbers, I guess fine. Maybe he's going to put up rushing numbers, and maybe they've given up rushing number to some quarterbacks, but that doesn't mean that they're going to lose the game. I don't think those two things are necessarily correlated. And so it's the same as if you see Kirk Cousins throw, I don't know why he comes to mind, but Captain Checkdown throws 20 completions that go 3 yards when the team is down by 14. Should we be lauding his completion percentage if they lose? I just don't see it that way. And so these spots where the Niners defense has vulnerabilities, I don't know if they're going to be there when the chips are down. And I think this game is going to be incredibly close, and I don't see them just giving up everything. I don't think they're going to get gashed on the ground. Lane Johnson seemed healthy last week. He played a lot, I think 96% of the snaps, but he has a torn groin. Is that going to work out great every time? If he takes a weird step, is he going to have to leave the game, and or is he going to be hobbled against a tough defensive front? Fred Warner is one of the best defensive players in the league. Is he going to make some big plays? I like Hufanga in the secondary for the Niners. I just feel like everyone has looked at this Eagles secondary because they beat the Giants, who have no receivers, and said, oh, they're way better on defense. I just don't see it that way. All these stats about the Niners in the second half defense, we're just forgetting about all of it. I don't like that. And so I grant you that their receivers are dangerous. They will make plays down the field. I'm sure of it. But let's not act like the Niners receivers aren't dangerous as well. I think they have more weapons than the Eagles do. Eagles have the three, right? Smith, Brown, Goddard, sure. But Goddard is going to be gobbled up over the middle by these Niners linebackers. If he has a good game, I'd be a little surprised. Unless something happens where they're playing from behind, right? And when you have Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, I even like Jennings out there. I like Mitchell too. I just think it's a wash offensively. And it's probably near a wash defensively. And if you want to say the quarterback difference is the difference, then fine. But this is gearing me up towards how I want to take the 49ers because I believe in their coach a lot more. And I know they're getting points. And in a game that is borderline even, I'm going to take the team that's getting points and has shown that defensively in the second half of these important games, they refuse to give up anything at all. The eye test passes for the Niners defense for me better than the Eagles defense. On paper, that might not be true. I know the Eagles have these ridiculous sack numbers. I get all of it. But I just feel like you're going to see a Trent Williams there's so much depth to this offense and interchangeable parts that I think the coaching difference and the play calling will be at a huge advantage for the 49ers, and that matters more to me than the difference in the quarterbacks, especially when I'm skeptical about Hurts, his health. If he takes a really bad hit, I don't know. He said himself that he wasn't happy with how his health is and that he's not 100%. I don't know why he would say that out loud. Maybe he's sandbagging, whatever. Just because he got away with it last week doesn't mean he's completely healthy, and I feel that way about Lane Johnson. And if there's any sniff of those two not being 100%, I don't think they win this game. So let's move on to the second one, and then I'll get back to the picks. Bengals, Chiefs. I have a shorter breakdown on this one. Although the Bengals have won 3 games in a row in this matchup, I get it. Burrow is looking like the best quarterback in the NFL right now, but Mahomes probably is the best quarterback in the NFL, if that makes sense. Gimpy leg, though. Little Mo in the gimpy leg. What do you do with this game, right? Because you don't know how healthy Mahomes is. There's been reports, he's walking, there's videos, blah, blah, blah. They're going to shoot him up. He's going to play. But if he leaves this game for even a drive, let alone a quarter, and I have to see Chad Henne again, I don't know. I mean, this Chiefs team doesn't blow out people the way they used to. They barely got past the Jaguars, who are good, but they did this all year. I think they had 11 losses against the spread this year, and I know there's not really a spread here, but the point remains that they're not performing the way that the books think they're going to perform. I don't want to bet against Mahomes, not at home. But I also am not fading this Bengals team with the way Burrow is playing. They have better weapons overall. Their defense is a lot better than the Chiefs. This Chiefs red zone defense is really not good. I think they're like in the bottom 10 of the league, if not bottom 5. They're not a great defense overall. They're very young. Sometimes that can be good and bad, but against Burrow, man, I think you're crazy if you're betting against Burrow in general. I thought about the over, but then you got to worry about the refs in both of these games are notorious for not throwing flags, right? So generally you would think that means the defense can play a little more physical, and that trend worries me a little bit because you're going to see plays where you're like, how is that not a flag? All of a sudden people are going to be crying for flags after 20 weeks of hating them. And that scared me away from the over a little bit, plus the Mahomes injury. I just don't know what's going to happen. I think both these teams might try to control the football to keep it away from the other quarterback. So that scared me off of the over, even though the number was pretty attainable. And then I thought about, well, maybe you're getting good value with the Chiefs at home not having to give more than a field goal, right? Sure. I hear that. But a high ankle sprain, which is apparently what Mahomes has, I'll see all the videos of him walking, and he's fine. But he's going to have to play in the pocket more than he normally does, and those Mahomes scramble plays are usually really magical. And he's probably the best pocket passing quarterback in the league too, but you're still taking away a weapon potentially, not to mention the fact that it takes at least a month to recover from a high ankle sprain, not 7 days. Never. That doesn't happen. He's going to be hobbled. They're going to shoot him up. He'll play, but if he leaves this game for a second, I'm worried, and I think that it possibly could happen. It really could, and that makes me scared to take the Chiefs, which leads me to the pick that I'm going to make. I don't have to go too much further with that breakdown of the game because it's hard, right? I don't have that game alone. Normally, I would pick one game, the spreads, we get out of here. Maybe a same-game parlay, which we'll throw in later anyway, but I can't do that for this one. I did want to. I like Jamar Chase a lot. I have his rookie cards. I need to do a video on sports cards at some point. I think he's one of the better receivers in the league. He dropped like 11 catches, 250 yards, and I think 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs in one of their 3 last games. I think he's a big problem that hasn't yet been exploited in these playoffs, but I think there's going to come a time where he is just unguardable. And if you double him, you open up so many other weapons for them. I also think they can run the ball. We are forgetting a little bit about how offensive line problems happen for the Bengals just because they played really well for 1 week together. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Look, this is just a confusing game for me. It really is. But I am putting 10 units, 10, biggest pick this year so far, on an alternate line parlay. You could call it a teaser, I guess, but it's not exactly equal. 49ers plus 7.5 and Bengals plus 7.5. Keep it simple. These games should be close. Both of those teams can win. I think at this point in the playoffs, if you're taking a dog, you have to believe that they can win because you want to be winning towards the end. And then if you get crushed on the money line, at least you have the cover, right? So both of those teams plus more than a touchdown, 10 units, minus 120. I kind of have to do it. I can't imagine the Bengals are going to get blown out. Their second half defensive adjustments are amazing. Burrow can claw them back into the game if he needs to, which I don't even think they're going to need to. If they dismantle the Bills in their place like this, I don't see a reason why they can't compete with this Chiefs team with a hobbled quarterback. I think they've been the best team in the league, the hottest team in the league for a while, aside from the 49ers, at least the AFC. And getting them with a touchdown is really good. And the Niners just don't lose by more than a touchdown. It's so hard for me to imagine them getting blown out. They can get down the field in a hurry with all their trick plays if they need to. Both of these are prime for a backdoor. Prime. I mean, you have a minute left and you're down by 14. Easily I could cover both of them because both of these defenses are going to just keep the ball in front of them, run the clock, you get in, then there's 20 seconds left, you onside kick, they both lose by 7, and we're home, baby. We are profiting 9 units or whatever the math works out to be. So give me the 10 units on the Niners and Bengals plus 7.5 each, and we keep it simple. The bookmakers couldn't possibly stop the teasers from happening on the underdogs. Now, that does surprise me a little bit, but what are you supposed to do, right? They tried to move the line towards the Bengals. They were favored at some point, and then all the Chiefs bets came in because you're getting plus odds on the money line at home with a team where Mahomes is going to play. So they couldn't do that. They were kind of backed into a corner, and hopefully for us, a lot of people decide to tease the favorites up to 4.5 so that they're getting at least a field goal. I'd rather have the underdogs plus at least the touchdown, assuming that both these games are going to be close. It's hard to imagine that they're not going to be. So give me that 10 units. We're going to hit it. Stay hot. I have a couple more picks. 3 units on Kelsey over 6.5 receptions, minus 145. The juice is bad, but I thought the line would be bigger. And honestly, I'd rather have minus 145 at over 6.5 than going over 7.5 at a better number. So give me that because I think Mahomes is going to have to stay in the pocket like we talked about. You're going to have these quick, especially if they're behind, right? You're going to have these quick option routes where the two of them are so aligned. He can have 7 receptions in a quarter. He had like 11 in the first half last week. If Chad Henne does have to come into the game, he's looking for Kelsey over the middle. I just have to imagine they're going to try to control the game with him. He is their biggest weapon by far. You got to imagine the defense is going to double him also, but it doesn't seem to matter very much. They have these option routes where him and Mahomes are on the same page all the time. They fake out, they go in, they fake in, they go out. Then when you jump that, they go up the seam and he's gone. I don't think you can stop this guy. They go to him in the red zone a lot as well. They do those shuffle passes, which count as a pass and a reception. I just think betting on Kelsey is one of the safest things you can do. And so give me 3 units on Kelsey over 6.5 receptions. Last pick, of course you got to throw in the same game parlay here. So I'm putting 1 unit on the Bengals money line just because I've been on them all year. I believed in them last year, although I bet the Rams to win the Super Bowl, which ended up working out only because of Aaron Donald. I don't see Aaron Donald on the other side of this game. So I just think getting them at a plus number in a same game parlay to boost those odds up is really nice. Give me Bengals money line against the Chiefs. Samaje Perine over 17.5 rushing yards. He gets the ball a lot. He plays a lot. He plays almost every third down because Mixon isn't a good blocker. He can run. He can play. He's had big games this year. I don't think the Chiefs are that scary. Not run defense? I mean, what are they really going to do? All I need is one good run for Perine. 1 first down, and then he just gobbles up 2-3 yards at a time, and we cross that threshold. I think we're going to be fine. And then I'm taking Pacheco over 48.5 rushing yards because I think that number is realistic. They didn't play McKinnon a lot last week. I took McKinnon in some props. It didn't work out. I don't know why. At any time, they can go back to McKinnon, which does scare me, but he doesn't run very much. Pacheco is getting those early runs, and if Mahomes is gimpy at all, they have to hand it to Pacheco. What else are they going to do? They can't do these rollouts. They could do quick bubble screens, but they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. And so I think Pacheco is going to get the football. And again, he broke a 40-yarder last week, and then we're home free. So Bengals money line, Perine over 17.5, and Pacheco over 48.5 brings us to plus 673. We're throwing 1 unit on that. That brings us to 16 units in total, including the Niners to win the NFC, which I had in from a while ago. We're plus 34.8 units overall. We're looking to crack that number up near the 50 threshold, not even a month into the year. We're hot. It's going to go down at some point, but you got to ride the wave, and you got to, at this point, we're 20 weeks in, you got to believe in what we've seen all year. I'm fading the Eagles. I'm sorry. I hate to fade Mahomes. He's my guy. I generally bet on the Chiefs at home all the time, but I had to switch gears on this one. So those are the picks. I hope you win. At MikeTheMush Sports, there may be more that pops up. There may be more live stuff. I talked about the college basketball stuff before. There's always UFC late on the weekends. A couple of good fights announced that we'll talk about on there. So follow the social media for even more stuff. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the noti bell so you get these videos before the games kick off so you know exactly what to do. Do all the things. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Pet your dog. We'll see you next time. Good luck enjoy the Sunday. This is the best football day of the year. It's better than Super Bowl Sunday. It honestly is, because there's 2 games. They happen at the perfect times. 3 and 6:30 is so nice. Nothing early. Doesn't go too late. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Best of luck. Win some money. Peace out.